Good morning, everybody. I want to start off by a small activity. I would like one of you or whoever wants to participate to raise their hand and tell me if you are really concerned about a terrorist attack on a daily basis. So you are concerned that anything can happen at any time. And how many of you believe that a terrorist attack might happen in Orlando at any time, since it's a very trafficked area? Interesting. Many of us. We're sorry. My name is Carly Cruz, and I'll be talking about terrorism in the U.S. So according to the Cato Institute, a think tank headquarters and the CDC, and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, a federal agency that supports and controls and promotes health in the U.S. It's more likely to one of us to die from skin cancer than to die from a terrorist attack. So the probability for us to die in a terrorist attack is 1 in 30 million. Let's put it out this way. It's more likely one of us to win the lottery. The numbers are 1 in 13 million. It's more likely for us to die from an animal attack since the numbers are 1 in 1.6 million. This is what we're going to be covering. The psychology of terrorism, American terrorism, and comparing terrorism to other statistics. The psychology of terrorism. This is not to diminish any horrors about this attack or the terrible deaths of many innocent individuals. And in no way I'm trying to justify terrorism. Terrorist is a political and psychological weapon that in no way it's trying to accomplish to defeat the enemy. In that case would be the government and to scare us. The purpose of terrorism is to intimidate us and make us feel like we are in imminent danger. According to Robert Leahy, a PhD graduate from Yale University, most of us overestimate and overthink because we see news and we see media publishing and using terrorism as a clue to make us fear. The purpose of terrorism is to cause danger and subordination, according to Simon Jenkins in an article in the U.S. Today. Americans, why are we afraid of terrorism? Because we tend to overestimate terrorist attacks because danger is invisible. Just like we feared Ebola in 2014 and 2016. According to the CDC, there were only 4 cases within those 2 years and only 1 death. If we put it this way, we overestimate. There's really any rare death in those 2 years of any terrorist attacks. We fear the dangerous and risk because the event is very dramatic. And the news tends to have a big influence on our daily basis. According to the Journal of Military and Veterans, political institutes tend to modify second or third-handed information and use it in their own benefit. Go to the next one. Animal and fire attacks. As I said at the beginning, we are more likely to win the lottery or die from an animal attack than a terrorist attack. More Americans die, according to the Center for Disease Control in 2019, more Americans died in an animal attack and firearm attacks. Animals killed approximately 1,600 people in the last decade. Americans killed by gun in the last decade is 280,000. Ebola killed 1 individual between 2014 and 2016, according to the CDC. And while I was doing the research, I found a small quote said by our ex-President Barack Obama in October 1st, 2015. Sorry, Tally up the number of Americans who have been killed through a terrorist attack over the last decade, and the number of Americans who have been killed by gun violence has been little. The number of Americans killed in a terrorist attack within 10 years has been 24. The number of Americans killed by a firearm has been 280,000. These numbers come from a nonpartisan New American Foundation. This foundation is dedicated to renewing America and continuing the quest and realize our nation's highest ideals. And as in conclusion, our terrorism attacks are decreasing, and it's really not the main cause of death in the United States. We tend to think that it is because of the media use and how terrorism is a cliche. Some sources will use the term terrorism to suit the bias of the author. The media uses of terrorism is becoming meaningless.